Hi, my name is Pat, and this is my channel, Book Chat with Pat, and I'm glad that you're here. I'm afraid that I've been really under the weather since returning from my Ireland trip. I got really sick at the end of the trip, and I was really just completely knocked out this past week. So it's taking me a little bit of time to kind of get back in the swing of things. I didn't have COVID. I have had it twice already, but I seem to have been hit by a pretty severe upper respiratory infection. And I've been pretty much out of commission since I posted my my video earlier in the week about Ireland. I hope today to be able to talk a bit about some of my plans for October. And please excuse me if I have to stop and drink water in the middle of this. I've just been having a hard time talking for any length of time. So first up for October is the next book that we're going to be reading with the I'm with the band book club. This was a club created by MJ at Reading This Life. The next book that we're going to be reading together is Margaret Atwood's Oryx and Crake. This is another book that has been banned by the entire state of Utah in their most recent assault on 13 books written by 7 writers, 6 of whom are women. In solidarity with these banned writers, we are reading and discussing their books, both in Voxer and on Fable. I have no idea why Utah found this book by Margaret Atwood to be objectionable. We're going to read it and we'll see what our group thinks about it. Next, my own book group is reading William Kent Krueger's The River We Remember. This is my third novel that I've read by William Kent Krueger, following Ordinary Grace and This Tender Land. I like him very much. This one that we're reading now is a murder mystery set in Minnesota in the aftermath of World War II. A Native American man, a decorated war hero, has returned home with his Japanese wife, and he is accused in this murder. I will discuss the novel later on the channel after my book group has had a chance to meet and talk about it in a little more than a week's time. So I'll talk about it then after we've had a chance to have our meeting. I am hoping to participate this month in both Victober and in the spooky, scary, skeleton, Halloween readathon. In a few places, I have been able to, I think, combine these two reading events by finding spooky Victorian things to read. I will list the hosts of these two events in the notes for this video. Excuse me. The group read for Victober is Mary Elizabeth Braddon's novel, The Doctor's Wife, which I'm hoping to read. I had ordered the book from Thrift Books as soon as I heard about the group read, But then a few days after I placed my order, Thrift Books contacted me to tell me that they were actually sold out and that they had no copies available in any condition. I have now ordered a copy elsewhere, and I'm still waiting for it to arrive. I'm hopeful, though, that it will get here and that I'll be able to participate in that group read. I am going to reread one novella that will fit both October events, and that is Henry James' novella, The Turn of the Screw. This is a Victorian ghost story of sorts about a governess, the two children that she is charged to care for, and the mysterious figures of past employees who continue to reappear on the property, even though they are believed to be dead. They return, and they seem to be, at least according to the governess, they seem to be beckoning to the children to follow them. Excuse me. When I was in Ireland, I kept hearing talk in a lot of different places that we went. I kept hearing a lot of talk about the Irish writer Oscar Wilde. He's been on my mind quite a bit. He was featured in a literary pub crawl that we did, and he was certainly featured in our tour of Trinity College in Dublin, where he started his university education. I'm hoping to read some Oscar Wilde fiction and drama during Victober and during spooky season. So I have a couple of thoughts about that. One thing that I would like to read is his longish short story called The Canterville Ghost, which I have on my Kindle. I have also seen The Canterville Ghost performed as a play. It was produced by a dear friend of mine, and it was our dramatic offering one year at school when I was teaching. That was a play that was adapted from the short story that Oscar Wilde wrote. I've never read the short story. This is the story of the Otis family, an American family who have moved to England, to an English castle haunted by a ghost, the dead English nobleman Sir Simon de Canterville. It's actually a very humorous ghost story about a family that pretty much refuses to believe in the existence of the ghost despite his best efforts to haunt them. I'm also thinking about reading Oscar Wilde's only novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray. This is considered Victorian Gothic horror. I think that would fit really well into both events. This is the story of the hedonistic character Dorian Gray, who basically sells his soul in order to remain young and beautiful forever. Dorian Gray succumbs to every temptation imaginable, leading a completely immoral life. He stays youthful and beautiful while a portrait of him changes dramatically, aging and reflecting every sign of his corruption and dissolute life. I understand that Roz at Scally Dandling About the Book has a prompt in the Victober event to read a Victorian drama. And so for that reason, I thought I would reread Oscar Wilde's The Importance of Being Earnest, which is definitely my favorite of all of his dramas. I would also like to read around in this anthology that I've had for some time. This is called Victorian Ghost Stories by Eminent Women Writers. And this volume contains ghost stories by the likes of Charlotte Bronte, Elizabeth Gaskell, Mary Elizabeth Braddon, Willa Cather, and others. So I thought that I might find some fun things to read in this volume that I already own that would satisfy both reading events. And finally, just for spooky season, but not necessarily for Victober, I thought that I might find some good stories also in my go-to comfort read, Agatha Christie, in her collection, The Last Seance, Tales of the Supernatural. It's described as, quote, her spookiest and most sinister stories, including one never before published in the U.S. I don't know anything about this volume, but I already own it, and it looks like it would fit well into some of the October events. I'm not setting out exactly to fulfill prompts, but I am hopeful about participating in several different events this month to the degree that I am able. As always, I thank you for watching. I hope that you're doing well. I'll speak with you again soon. Take care.